Hey Foundations volunteer, so this is your training video for the 1st through 5th grade classroom. First of all, you're going to show up about 9:20, 9:30 at the latest in your awesome orange t-shirt. You're going to put your name tag on and find in the classroom everything prepared for you. So because you're going to show up on time and prepared, you are able to focus on greeting those kids as they arrive. So really the vision as a kid walks in with their family to the kids lobby is that they're gonna see you or one of the volunteers standing at that entranceway. Here's our hallway, and our 1st through 5th grade classroom really isn't visible from the lobby. So if one of the volunteers can be standing right here and just waving and greeting and saying hello and directing them down the hallway, it makes a great first impression. And then one of the other teachers is actually standing here at the classroom. So when they round that corner, you're greeting them, you're checking the kids in, though they are checked in the lobby. This is just your list for if you ever need to know, okay, exactly who's in my class. You've got just the name list right here. So you're gonna welcome those new kids in, welcome all the kids in. They've got toys, they've got games. You're able, because you are prepared, to not just be standing over there going over your lesson plan, because you've done that before during the week, but you're able to keep an eye on the classroom. You as the check-in teacher are kind of monitoring things. Now, if class starts to get full and you need more help, call that other teacher down here, or of course at 10 o'clock, you're both gonna be in the classroom, but that's a nice way to greet kids in those two separate places. All right, also remember that once a child is checked in, I know sometimes they feel older and like, I can just kind of roam in and out in this area. Once they're in, they're in. So if they want to go to the bathroom, they need to ask for permission. All right, so you've checked kids in, and teachers, you know that if you have created your ministry grid account, then in the week prior to the class that you're going to teach, I'm encouraging you to go in and pull up your leader guide. And on that guide, you have, and I'm going to use Unit 2, Session 1 as an example here, but you'll see the unit and the session number that you'll be teaching, as well as you can look ahead or behind at any time. You can always access those leader guides. And if you go in to the week that you'll be teaching, you have a little overview, and then the next page is all about prepare. And this is the page that I most definitely want you to really spend some time looking over. It's giving you the overview of this lesson. And so you're preparing your heart, you're preparing to teach this lesson to this class. So you'll go over the prepare class, and I'm just gonna kind of walk you through a class. So when you come in, I'll always have extra copies on this TV. All you have to do is turn on the TV, and then the Apple TV that is connected will always have on here the playlist that is all the videos and the slides associated with your lesson. So if you look on this particular day, I tend to only have 1 or 2 things on here. It's not gonna get jumbled. It's gonna be exactly your Unit 2, Session 1, the date. I tend to even put on there just so you're absolutely sure. You just push that center button and you will see all of the videos and slides, hopefully in order, that will go with your lesson. You also have your posters up here, which are gonna have your key passage, your big picture question and answer, the image associated with this lesson. And so on your lesson plan, you can double check all of this, but on your lesson plan, you'll see that the first thing is welcome activities. And these are kind of optional pre-10 a.m. activities. So they're little ways to just kind of prep the hearts of your kids. Like I said, they're optional. Sometimes the kids just want to play. Sometimes they're a little more involved, just depending on what time your kids arrive on that day. So you've got some optional pre-10 a.m. activities. Then you'll see on every leader guide the learn portion. This is what we want you to start about 10 o'clock or a couple minutes after. And all of the lessons kind of follow the same format. So they're gonna start with the countdown video here, which that changes, and you've got a countdown video to kind of get those kids gathered. Then you're going to progress to the big picture. Oh, sorry, I forgot the timeline. So this is the same one that's on the wall, just kind of a fun spinning timeline, reminding the kids that this is a chronological 3-year study of the Bible. And so this is the lesson that we are on this particular week. Then after that, you've got your big picture question and answer, which are also on the wall here. And this is walking you through, you're just following your guide step by step. These are the questions questions and answers that are repeated for that entire unit, which may be anywhere from 3 to 7 weeks, depending on kind of how they're grouped. But this is going to be repeated and reiterated for every lesson. So it's kind of important for you to think about, okay, what lesson am I teaching? For example, this one, like I said, was Unit 2, Session 1. So just being aware as the teacher that this is the first time they have seen this question and this answer. So make sure you spend a little extra time on it. Whereas if you were Session 4, you're just helping reiterate and helping them to remember that big picture question and answer, which these are really kind of catechism style things to teach these kids about our faith. And also remember that the question and the answer and the key passage are the same for our younger class. So that's what's really cool with that at-home activity, is that these kids are learning the same thing as possibly their younger siblings in our other class. Okay, so you do the big picture question, answer, and then after that, you're going to move into the Bible story, which it's going to give it to you on your lesson guide. But we're gonna just play the video, but it's giving it to you so that when it's over, there's a second part that says, okay, review the Bible story. Just kind of recap what happened, maybe use some of those bolded explanations. They're giving you the highlights. And so you're gonna review the Bible story. Then every single lesson has a Christ connection. Remember, that's kind of the big push of Gospel Project, is every story in the Bible points us back to Christ. And so there's a Christ connection in there to say, okay, what exactly does this Bible story point to about Jesus? After that, you will have questions from kids, which I have been hearing from these kids. They love it. I love this. This is the next portion, where you have a kid write in and they ask a question and they have a real pastor. I'm Pastor Kevin. It's time. And they really explain common questions that a kid might have about the Bible. So I love that portion of it. After that, you're going to move into another common aspect, is missions moment. Now, those aren't in every single lesson of the Gospel Project, but many lessons have a missions moment, which this one does. You've got a video, and then they might have an activity. Sometimes they have, teach these Spanish phrases, or let's talk about some aspects of missional living. Then you always have a key passage, which again, for the unit, that key passage will be repeated. So you might be introducing it, you might be reviewing it, but here's a key passage. And then for every key passage, they have a key passage song. And so this is kind of our worship song. And at this point, I know some of you teachers say that you really want a second song, you want more worship. So I tend to have in your playlist what I title extra or optional worship, and you can choose if you want to do it at that point. Some of you teachers might want to start that way with just one worship song. That's a little bit of freedom for you teachers to choose. And then you've got pray. Now, about this time, it's probably about 10:30, 10:40, and then it goes into some of this more application. It might be a little later than that, depending on how long the missions moment, if there was a missions moment. So you might be getting more closer to 11. But then it moves into love, and they're going to show you, okay, how do you apply this? And so this is where it tends to change a little bit week to week. They tend to have group discussion, which you can choose as the teachers, depending on who your partner is, who you're scheduled with. Would you like to separate? Maybe you do boys and girls and you do group discussion sitting on the floors. Maybe you do group discussion just as a large group and you just ask. Maybe you turn your chairs and put them into a circle. Maybe you do the olders and the youngers. However you want to do it, group discussion. There are some questions to just lead them through about the lesson. All right, then there are usually some activities on the live aspect, which this might be a game, it might be making something. This is where sometimes we'll see crafts, so a lot of options at this point in the lesson. And then you've got journal and prayer, and that's where every week you'll see mentioned some of the activity pages. So they're getting an activity page. It's a folded activity page. I don't have one right here to show you, but every week there's a folded activity page, which on the back always has journal questions. So again, a little bit of options kind of depending on what those extra activities are. You might just go ahead and start that in class and you hand them out and you guys sit there and do some of those pages, give them time to journal. Other times you're just going to be sending those sheets home with the kids. All right, so that's basically a lesson in this class. At this point, it's probably about 11 o'clock, something you're nearing the end, and you can go ahead and let them play again, or there tends to be a lot of optional activities. So as much as you want to engage them, go ahead, do more activities. A couple of things about when you are sending them home, and I want to go ahead and show you all where these are at. Okay, so back behind here in our podium, we have a lot of supplies, which you will see the big picture cards. I will tend to have these put out for you already at that door so you can hand them out as you leave. But if I ever forget, you've got the upcoming big picture cards for families, as well as past cards in case a child missed a week and is really trying to keep up with those. We're encouraging them to go ahead and keep every week. This is the at-home aspect where you want those kids to go home and follow up with their families. So you'll see these big picture cards. Make sure that you hand those out before they leave. Also, a couple notes just about this podium. I know some of the kids, because in past curriculums we had a laptop and helpers back here, they tend to think they can come back here, but I don't want kids to be coming back to this podium, so just help reiterate that. These are just teacher supplies now, and there's no reason a kid needs to come back here. We don't have any longer that helper role. Since we don't have a laptop, there's no need for it. So go ahead and keep the kids out of here. Also, if you have a first-time visitor, we have back here, you will always have stashed a little welcome bag. In this bag is just kind of some fun stuff, a Slinky, fruit snacks, but also some really important information about our curriculum, where we want to go ahead and encourage those new parents. Hey, check out this curriculum. It gives them one of those magnets for their fridge, and it gives them the beginning of that take home big picture question and answer cards, where we're encouraging all of our kids, keep up with this, talk with your parents at home, extend on our lesson with your family. So those will be right here. I think one more note I forgot, if you have a smaller class, just go ahead and tell them to move forward. We want that class to feel close-knit, and I think that's everything. So teachers, new teachers, I thank you so much for volunteering in this class. I'm truly excited about the curriculum that we use, Gospel Project for Kids. It teaches quality material, and you have the privilege of discipling these kids in their understanding about Christ. Please encourage the parents to follow up with that at-home QR code that will direct them to Ministry Grid, the same account that you use as a teacher, but when you log into the at-home aspect, or for those of you who are parents, to utilize that. It's really interesting and engaging material. It tends to be, an interesting science fact or something about the sky and stars, and every time I have done it, it has really engaged and interested my kids. And it's just a great way to continue to pour into them the scripture, to reiterate the question and answer, and to get parents involved and to know what we're teaching them in this class. So thank you, volunteers, for serving the Lord by serving the kids and the families of Foundations Church in Foundations Kids and coming, preparing for your class. I so appreciate you. Let me know if you have any questions now or week to week about this class, or of course, any suggestions to make us better. Two final reminders. Be sure to sign up for your Ministry Grid account for access to all curriculum materials, and also set up a Planning Center account to be notified of upcoming scheduling in the classroom, as well as to put in any blackout dates in which you're unavailable.